That's yours. I got too many phones.
Okay, Bill's not here, yeah,
No, I don't think Orange is coming.
okay. Yeah, Bill's sick, isn't he?
Yeah, Bill's got had what I had last week. Tanya's got pneumonia.
Lord,
Yeah.
be careful.
Yep.
It's dangerous.
Whenever you're ready.
Is it 6 o'clock now? Okay.
Well, somebody needs to set that clock up there.
Yeah,
Somebody needs to buy a Timex and put on the wall up there then.
that one's 3 minutes early.
25 years from now, it'll be right on the money.
Mhm. Just tell me when it's time. This is gonna be a short meeting.
Yeah, you marked them off.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. We'll begin with a prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. If everyone will please stand, and Dr. Whaley will lead us. Okay.
Heavenly Father, we acknowledge your presence here in our midst. We acknowledge your power and your grace and the blessings that you have given to this community and to each of us as council persons and leaders of this city. We ask that our deliberations be a respectful model for the young people and the youth, the public that is here to observe us in our deliberations. Help us focus on this community and its needs, make decisions that benefit the whole community. We seek wisdom and clarity and insight and discernment. We request that you bless us with peaceful collaboration and respect, and that you continue to bless this community, to bless this council, to bless this city, as you have blessed this county, this state, and this nation. In Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're going to, do we have an approval of minutes from the previous meeting of October the 15th, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Okay, number 4 is either an approval or an amendment to the agenda, and I do believe we need to amend the agenda to remove under public hearings B and C, though they have both requested a postponement to next month and possibly a withdrawal on one of them. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Okay, is there?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, raise your hand and say
Aye.
Okay, so the first, we will begin with a public hearing. This is a public hearing for the application for occupational tax certificate for commercial and residential garbage collection. And this is done by Waste South LLC. And I believe that the owner is here today, Justin Owenby. What we will do is we will open this up for a public hearing. We will grant 10 minutes to anyone in favor of granting this license to Waste South, and then we will give the opposition, if anyone opposes it, 10 minutes to give their statements, and then we will open it up to the council at that time for discussion. Okay? We'll open it up 10 minutes for public hearing, those who are in favor of this application being granted. Come on up to the mic, please.
I just wrote it out. Good evening. I want to thank y'all for the opportunity to speak. I keep getting told by the council members that you guys need time to review all this, the current ordinance, and make changes to it before you make your decision to approve. Today, there's 3 haulers allowed in the city. If I replace one of those existing, tomorrow there's still 3 haulers allowed in the city. So I don't really see how a modification of the ordinance or any of the parts are really relevant to today or tomorrow. We all have to meet the current requirements today, and we all have to meet those current requirements tomorrow. So, and if you change them, we still got to meet those requirements. So I didn't really see the relevance. 8 months ago, I applied for this permit. Nothing's been reviewed or done this time. Not trying to be smart, but just how long is a reasonable time period to handle that, you know? I mean, the paperwork said 30 days, but we're 8 months in. But we're not here really tonight to discuss the ordinance, the rules, the other haulers, the legal haulers, the illegal haulers, or ideas that we think should change. We're here to really remove one hauler and replace Waste South as that hauler. But only want to remove that hauler if Waste South's getting approved, because the citizens need a legal and approved hauler. So we don't want to hurt the citizen. So tonight I ask for your approval, and in your agenda you've got the full packet I turned in March. If you have any questions, I'm always available.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else who would like to speak in favor of granting a license to Waste South LLC? Okay, we will now open it up for a 10-minute discussion or public hearing for anyone who has opposition to granting this license. If you have opposition, come up to the mic. Okay, no one? Okay, we will close the public hearing then and allow the council to have any discussion about this topic. And I guess, Joe, do you have anything you'd like to add in reference to this? And you can speak into Bill's mic.
Just that the agreement that was signed by Justin and Daniel, that would be on your first page in the packet. And it is just stating that they, that it is contingent on the council, that if one comes off, one will go and replace that. That was one of the things that we had talked about with Justin and having that in place. That would be the only thing that I would bring to the council.
Stay up there, Joe, please. Do we have anybody in the city limits that is moving trash that's not licensed to do so at this point?
Yes.
And how are we managing that problem?
I have caught one in particular company on myself that I reached out to our city attorney. He gave me a cease and desist letter. We mailed it to him. As of right now, I do not think that they are currently operating inside the city. There has been another instance that we have caught somebody else through one of the other employees. There again, we contacted our city attorney. He advised we sent the cease and desist letter to them, and I do not think that they are currently doing it. But yes, there is currently people that's picking up garbage that is not following what the ordinance says to do, and that are not abiding by the bylaws of the city that the city council has set forth.
Okay, was Justin one of those folks you sent a cease and desist letter to?
Yes, he was.
Did he cease and desist?
Yes, he did.
And that's honorable.
No.
Justin also, in a conversation I had with him, told me that he thought there was 18, I believe,
Yes.
people doing that? Okay, do you believe that that's a liability for the city for those 18 people to conduct business within the city?
It is.
Do we have anybody enforcing those codes at this point?
As of right now, no, not full-time.
So then we need to put somebody in code enforcement to handle that decision.
Yes, sir.
And those are civil fines, correct?
That's correct.
They're not a criminal matter for the police department, they're a civil fine.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily send the police out to make an arrest, but I think the way you would handle it is to issue a citation. I mean, any violation of our code is, at least in theory, punishable by up to $1,000 fine and 6 months in prison. But typically, the way you would handle it is you'd have a codes enforcement officer issue them a citation to appear in front of the municipal court, and then if they fail to appear, other consequences follow.
And how many folks do we have licensed in this city to haul garbage?
As far as I know, 3.
3.
I believe the ordinance says 3, correct?
That's right, up in, for every 400 population.
Okay.
1 for every 400 population.
All right. And I believe what Justin wants to do is buy someone else out that's actually has a permit at this time, is that correct?
Correct. And the permit is active and valid.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay.
Let me ask, I've seen this before us for months.
Mhm.
I'd like to make the analogy, or ask the analogy, if ownership of a restaurant with an alcohol license changes, the new owners have to reapply for a new alcohol license. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So this situation is, there are 3 licensed dealers, or providers. One has sold his permit to an applicant, and the applicant has met the requirements the city has placed that are in place at this time in the ordinance. Is that correct?
Hold on a minute, Doc. They haven't exchanged yet. It's contingent upon
I understand.
whether we vote.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
But they basically, the sales concluded when the title clears, so to speak. Is that correct?
The current license would expire with that, and Waste South would have to get a current license with the city at that point in time.
They'd have to reapply.
So the other license would not carry over under Waste South. You
Is that
would have to end that one.
So
and then
if
begin,
this
yes.
were to go through today, the prior provider would have to, would he continue to operate while the new license is applied for?
No, I mean, the license could be, done the next day.
It's not transferable, though.
The license is
Right.
non-transferable.
What I'm saying, then, we would have 2 providers, and the application for a new provider wouldn't be allowed at the moment. Is that correct?
We would
Is that
have
right?
to, we would,
I'm sorry, Doc.
What I'm saying is that if the provider that's selling out's no longer able to provide because his license is ended at the time this is passed, we still don't have that void filled until this owner applies for a new permit and is granted that permit. Is that correct?
Waste South has already applied. They have already met all the criteria. It's just, it has to come in front of council.
So if council approved it, they
It
would-
could be
yeah.
immediately turned over the very next day.
Okay, so that the council could approve it tonight. Is that correct?
If the council were inclined to approve it tonight, that, technically speaking, that would give us 4 providers. So what I would suggest is maybe the approval be conditioned upon the surrender of the existing license by the 3rd provider. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Just to make sure we're in compliance with the ordinance.
Were we to do that, that would in no way handicap us re-looking at the ordinance and rewriting the ordinance and enforcing it against the other 17 illegal providers. Is that correct or not correct? Nothing about granting this
Everybody's
license
looking.
would prevent us from looking at the ordinance.
That's right.
nor
If there were still
enforcing the ordinance.
providers out there that were picking up garbage within the city limits, that did not have a license to do so, we could still enforce as it relates to them.
Okay, now I would think that if they were forward-thinking people and they knew that the police department was going to issue them a citation, they were gonna have to show up in court, and that they could be fined $1,000 or 6 months in jail, that would be an inducement to cease and desist their illegal activity. Is that the way you would read it?
That's the way I would read it.
I don't believe the police department needs to be enforcing code enforcement things, Doc.
Well, I am aware that sheriffs and police issue these citations.
They issue citations under ordinances and laws, not code enforcement.
That's not what the city attorney said.
So, I think, I want to make sure we're talking about 2 different things. So there was a question raised about whether code enforcement officers can make arrests. And my understanding of the law is that they can't unless they're post-certified law enforcement officers. I do think that a police officer could issue a citation for a code violation. That, that's not, I don't think it's prohibited, it's just not typical. I mean, typically, you have a codes enforcement person who, well enforces codes. But I think a police officer could issue a citation for a codes violation.
But law enforcement's not civil. When a law enforcement officer puts his hands on you, that's not a civil matter.
But
that's a
they're not
criminal
making
matter.
an arrest. I mean, they're issuing a citation to someone, and telling that person they have to appear before a judge.
So it's a summons.
It's essentially a summons, yeah.
Is that not what we do with the alcohol, when we have the underage sales and the sheriff and the police department?
But that's a criminal thing, it's not civil. You've got an underage person buying alcohol underage, that's a criminal offense, Doc.
That's not a code, that's not a code.
That's not a
violation.
code thing, that's a criminal
All right,
matter.
well, I'm gonna have to shut up then.
No, you're
No,
fine.
No,
I just-
I was, I'm the world's best doctor, but I am not the world's best lawyer.
Well,
So
being a sheriff's deputy, I can tell
I
you
got
that
a brother that's a judge, and he'll be here in a week, but I can't ask him now.
we enforce the law.
Okay,
Dane enforces the laws in Fannin County, not the codes. And he's courtroom security, and he serves those summonses that are issued by a magistrate.
got it, okay.
So what we would need to do is put somebody in code enforcement to enforce that, because that is a civil matter, finable up to 6 months in prison, I believe you said, and a $1,000 fine.
What is your suggestion about handling this request at this time, which seems to me to be legally in front of us and requires us to do something?
I would suggest that we secure our code. I think that we need to make sure that we are tied, because anybody that's operating in the city without a permit is a liability for the city. If someone gets hurt dumping somebody else's garbage, we could have a problem because we
So
know
what's the-
about it now.
what's the
When we didn't
mechanism?
know about it, we could claim ignorance. And there's no ignorance now, we know.
What's the
Justin has
mechanism?
brought it forward.
What's the mechanism by which we secure the code?
We sat down together as a council with an attorney, and we secure the code. And again, I'm
What
not
does that-
against,
I mean, seriously, I'm asking, I'm not.
we just go through the code and take out anything that's, we have found that our charter and code are vague in some ways. I believe that if we're gonna enforce it, if we're gonna have a code, it needs to be enforced.
Yeah,
Any law that we have should be enforced.
agree with you.
Why have it if you're not gonna enforce it?
I agree with that.
Okay, do you know what's in that code?
Heck, no, obviously I don't.
So I think that would be premature for us to do anything as far as this goes
Okay.
right now until we have secured that.
Okay, well, then this.
Now, I'm not saying no forever.
Yeah, I understand.
You understand?
So this
I'm
dies
just
for
saying
lack of
until we
motion.
get our ducks in a row, we need to make sure that the decisions we make are the best.
Do you think that we could just make sure like it happens within the next meeting?
Speaking your
Or- Do you think that this is something that we could put to where it's addressed by the next meeting? Or,
Possibly, and that's exactly what I talked to Justin about. That we could bring this to the next meeting, give everyone an opportunity to, Chuck and I'll go through it, and Joe, and we'll bring anything that we see before the council, we can vote on it. We're going to have a special call meeting, and I'm getting a little off topic for this, the problem we have with the finance. I think we have that resolved. We sat down today, the mayor and I, and staff here, and I think we've got some of that resolved, and I think we'll be making a positive step forward on that this next week, I hope. And we're gonna have to call a special meeting, and I think that could possibly be addressed at that meeting if we can
Good,
get
let's
through
do it.
this.
Let's give this man some closure, so we.
Exactly. I'm not trying to hold him up.
Okay,
I just
good.
wanna make sure that we
That's
we
fine
have
with
our
me,
ducks
Jack,
in a
that's
row.
fine with me. As I say,
Yeah.
obviously, my
And
understanding.
again, it's
of
not
this-
forever.
My understanding of this is incomplete.
It is.
Y'all, where's the newspaper man? Write that down. I've been here 3 years, and I've never said my understanding is incomplete. So somebody needs to take notice of that and write it down.
Okay, so I'm assuming we're not gonna make a motion tonight, we're just going to work on this and then hopefully very quickly,
That would
like
be
she
my
said. Okay,
suggestion.
so we don't have to make a motion since it's public hearing. Okay, is everybody on board with that? Okay, that sounds good. I think that's a good plan. Okay, the next thing, action items, personnel. We do have, Denny Cook is coming off probation, and I'd like to ask a motion for him to come off probation, as well as give him a $2 an hour raise. And then we also have Gerald Fortenberry, who was promoted to park supervisor, and I believe what we're talking about is $1.50 an hour raise, because it was going to be equivalent to 20-something cents, so it's 27. So, we've suggested $1.50, if everyone's good with that. So those would be the two items on personnel. And we can make it as one motion.
It's parks.
You
It's
good with,
parks.
oh, yeah.
you good with that?
You
I'm
need
good
to
with
make
that.
the
With
motion.
Gerald?
You're supposed to
Oh, I
make the
need to make
You
motion.
need to
Just
make the motion.
Make it individually for Gerald, and then we'll do it separately for Denny.
Okay,
Too.
so I
Yeah.
just say, I make a motion to give give Gerald $1.50 raise
Go ahead and do Denny too. Yeah.
and Denny a $2 raise
And bring him off probation.
and bring him off probation.
Okay, is there a
Done that
second?
before, guys.
Second.
Thanks for bearing with me.
Okay. Okay, let's do a roll call vote. Dr. Whaley? Yes, Jack
Yes.
and Christie?
Yes.
Okay, motion passed. The next thing is a Mountaintops Water System Improvements Project time extension. We just approved this last week, but they're now saying that we're gonna need, instead of 210 days, up to 360 for this project. So all we need is a motion and, to allow me to sign the contract to change this order.
Can we discuss that a little bit?
Yeah, and if we need any discussion,
I want to hear from the staff.
yeah. Denny, would you come up? You knew you were here for a reason.
The reason why they're asking for the time extension is because when we initially put the project out for bid, we only had one company that bid on it. And they come in like, I don't know, $2 million over where we were at. So that's when we come back and we decided we was gonna do, repair and replace. So in that length of time, we had to put it back out for bid, so they lost about 2 months' time. So all we're doing initially is actually, they're gonna start in January. So the 2 months that they have lost, they're just asking that we'll tack it on at the end. So,
No increase in the money,
no, as far as
just a 2-month increase in time.
in time, yes.
Okay,
Okay,
sounds reasonable.
So
Any other
moved.
questions?
okay, so
Second.
do we have a motion? Okay, we have a motion.
That's second.
Okay,
Second,
okay, and let's do a roll call vote. Dr. Whaley?
yes.
Jack and
Yes.
Christie? Okay, motion passes. Discussion, agenda items are none. Jack, do you want to give a report on any of that stuff we were talking about?
As far as finance?
Yeah.
And we don't wanna talk about where the budget is right now, right?
No, we don't have to talk about budget, but if you want to give an update on anything, or
We-
Christie from your departments, you're more than welcome, Dr. Whaley.
Since Rhonda has asked me to take over basically the function of the city inside City Hall here, and I've accepted that responsibility. But previously, she has asked me to find somebody for our finance director. And what we have talked about, all of us together in the meeting, even today, is that rather than hiring a finance director, we're going to hire a firm. Because, let's see, how do I put this gently? We have found a lot of things that are not up to par. Totally transparent, there were some things that were done that, nothing unlawful, just something that was more not done that should have been. So what I've discussed with everyone here at the table, except Doc and Christie weren't here today, so I'm bringing you up to speed on this today, tonight, is that we found a lot of things that need to be fixed. So we've decided that and Rhonda agrees that we're gonna push for a firm and try to get a firm in here that's done this before, that is very experienced at it, and fix it before we move further. That pretty much sum it up?
I think that sums
Okay,
it up.
so basically, after our ox is out of the ditch, the firm can go away and we
Yeah.
can then fill this with a competent person.
We
And you
can,
can
yes.
continue your search, or they can help us search, but basically, our ox is in the ditch, it's gonna take a pro to get it out of it, and we're
Yeah.
gonna find a pro and hire him.
Very
That's-
good analogy.
Yeah, that's
Very
exactly.
good analogy. And we're not
Yeah.
gonna look for that person while, after the ox is out of the ditch,
That's what I
Doc. We're
mean.
looking now.
I know, and our people that are getting the ox out of the ditch might have some suggestions.
Right, and we have a good
Yes.
candidate, but now bear in mind, so the council understands that I want to keep the firm for a quarterly, or I think we need some oversight in that department so this doesn't happen again, and I don't believe anybody would
Is that
disagree
a
with that.
function that our present audit firm could do or not?
I don't believe it is.
Okay, well, I definitely agree with having financial reports on a regular quarterly basis at the least. Every board I've ever served on had a financial report at every meeting, so we don't.
Well, I will say, Doc, that this is not gonna be cheap. That this, getting the
I
ox out of the
understand.
dish, as you put it, is not gonna be cheap.
I didn't ask for cheap, I asked for efficient,
Yeah.
competent.
Well, I really have a problem spending the city's money, honestly,
I know, I do too.
and I don't like to, I don't, we just
Yeah.
have to make sure this
But
mistake
we
doesn't
want-
happen
We don't wanna
again.
be breaking any laws.
No. And
So
this
there
is,
we go.
and we want to be able to function with like the rollover budget at the end of the year to make sure we can roll over to next year's budget. And right now, we've got to have someone to assist with that, so that's huge.
Yeah. And
Huge.
Chuck's assisting in
Yeah.
this as well,
So,
so he will be overseeing this as well.
yep. Christie, is there anything for the parks you'd like to? Now, when are the lights coming on? That was a question that's kind of come up.
I asked that today too.
Give us a report. Yeah, I've even seen it on Facebook, like people are asking, why are the lights are down there, but they're not turned on?
Holiday Designs have got all the trees pretty much wrapped and
Uh-huh.
ready. I'm gonna try to get the trees on this weekend.
Good.
The rest of the stuff, we got some stuff that's coming in this week. Some of the photo op stuff will be coming in this week. They will be back this weekend and next week, putting up the rest of the stuff in the park and getting it lit up. But, everything will be ready to go
Okay.
by light up.
Do we have a gala event opening?
Yeah.
When is it?
It's the weekend after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that
That'll
will
be
be-
that Saturday night.
that'll be the lighting-
7 PM, we'll light the tree, is that not correct?
The lighting of the tree.
Yes.
Are you gonna light
Yeah.
the tree?
No,
Okay.
I'm gonna hide in the corner,
Who's gonna light the tree, Denny?
whoever they tell to light it. Whoever
always
flips the
fun.
switch.
I think you should light the tree, Denny.
Who do you guys have lighting it this year?
We're still looking for a sponsor to line it,
Oh,
for
Hey.
the actual person doing it besides you guys.
okay.
Any
Well,
other questions?
Nope. I think we're good. Doc, do you have anything to report on?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Joe, do you? Any reports? Anything you need?
Just
He does.
No, I mean, we've, I've been tasked with working with a budget.
Uh-huh.
It is going well, slow but well. We have, as Councilmember Taylor said, we have found some
Jack.
things. I've been open with the council each time, so it will be a breath of fresh air to actually get a finance person in here.
Yeah.
And I will be working closely with them and directing where the issues are right off the bat so that they can start that. I will continue to what I'm doing until that person gets caught up, and then I'm gonna have a party and leave.
Good. And we can celebrate.
Something else I want to let the council aware of, that I have told Joe that that's his primary task right now. I have given the inside, any calls that come inside or outside, to Denny for the time being temporarily, so Joe could focus solely on the budget, because that is priority. We have to get
That's
those.
what we said at the meeting last.
That's right. Okay, so we have done that.
Okay.
And I've also told them they could go ahead and pull a couple of people in that are here part-time if they wanted to work some overtime or to get some more hours in to assist in that endeavor. So just so you guys are up to speed.
Okay. And that should hopefully get us
Fix
where
it.
we need to be. Okay, I guess it's time for public comments. Do we have any? Okay. No executive session is needed. Okay.
I believe everybody's
And so I guess, do we have a motion to adjourn?
so moved.
Second? Oh. Did you have a okay, I'm sorry, go back. Yeah, come on up then if you have a public comment. We'll go back, sorry. I probably went too fast on that. And you have 3 minutes, so.
Sure.
yep.
I'm Jeremiah Clore. I was just wanting to know if you guys would entertain the fact of a fourth residential pickup for the city for the garbage. That's all I had a question on.
Okay, and that is something we can certainly consider when we're looking at that ordinance, so.
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't want to do commercial, go picking, I've got trucks for that, just anything residential.
We also, as Jack had just said earlier, some other changes, we need to look at like those roll-off for construction stuff, because that's not really addressed in there either, so we're gonna address that as well with some of this stuff, so.
Okay,
Yeah.
so do I need to actually fill out an application for you guys?
Can you just wait until we,
Sure,
yeah,
sure. Yep, not a problem.
and then we'll get this ordinance revamped and, would you suggest that, or him go ahead? Okay,
Okay.
okay,
All right, thanks, guys.
Technically, I don't think we can process.
yeah,
Yeah, we could
Yeah.
process anything like this.
so we'll just do that. Okay, yes, please.
My name's Isaiah Allen. I'm with Allen Disposal. I'm one of the providers here that y'all have for garbage. I just want to say thank y'all. We knew about the meeting, and we just want to, thank y'all for allowing us to be a part of it, to pay our taxes, do everything that we're supposed to do. We are from over in Hiawassee, but I have a daughter that lives right here and gets her living made here, and so we just want to just say thanks for everything that y'all do for us. I personally, whenever y'all go to the records on that, and I know that's none of my business, but to see more providers, I would rather see you have 10 providers that's giving their money to y'all than to have 18 people that's stealing from y'all. It's not about competition, it's about, it is a free country. If this man wants to pick up trash, he should be able to pick up trash. And in my aspects of looking at it as a business person, I would see that it should be that whoever is on y'all's list, whether it be 3, whether it be 7, 10, that it's up to the person that is getting the trash picked up, that they have to be accountable to make sure that whoever is picking up their trash is certified through your council. And if not, they're the ones that should be getting the fine for not coming up to code, not us out here trying to make a living. Like I said, we're up to code with y'all, and I appreciate everything y'all do. I'm just saying it is a free country, and, why not let somebody get out here and work that's wanting to do something and do a service for y'all? That's all I gotta say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, so, no executive, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So
I make a
moved.
motion, we adjourn.
Okay.
I so moved.
Okay,
Good.
all in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Meeting is adjourned.
Look at that, I've killed a poplar tree. That-
Joe, I signed that. But I did mark on it the first, because I was making myself notes. Is that okay?